Let us now move forward towards a discussion about the frequency shifting property. In the previous session, we had seen about the time shifting property. So we noted that when we shift the signal in the time domain, there occurs a phase shift of the signal in the frequency domain. That is, the Fourier transform gets multiplied by e raised to minus j omega t0 term. Now, what will happen if we frequency shift the signal? That is, the shifting is occurring, taking place in the time in the frequency domain. So when there is a frequency shift in the frequency domain, it is as if it is equivalent to multiplying the time domain signal by the e raised to j term. So we can see here, so when we are shifting the spectra by a term beta, so the time domain signal gets multiplied by the term e raised to j beta t. Okay, so this is the about the frequency shifting property. Now how to prove this property? So for proving this property, we can substitute in place of x of t as e raised to j beta t. And now when you consider e raised to a into e raised to b is e raised to a plus b, so you combine the exponential terms here. After combining the exponential terms and we comparing this equation with our Fourier transform equation, we get this equation. So this means that when we are multiplying a time domain signal by an exponential, okay, there occurs a frequency shift of the signal in the frequency domain. So this is simple frequency shifting property of Fourier transform, that is continuous time Fourier transform. Next is the frequency differentiation property. What will happen if we take the derivative of the transform? So when we take the derivative of x of omega, that is Fourier transform, derivative of the Fourier transform, then what happens to the time domain signal? So the time domain signal gets multiplied by minus j t term. Now what is the meaning of this minus j t term? We will see later when we will discuss about this differentiation. So let us first prove this property. So for proof, let us start with the RHS. Let us take the derivative of the Fourier transform. This is our normal Fourier transform equation which we have seen in the first session. Now if you take the derivative with respect to omega, the derivative of e raised to minus ax is e raised to minus ax into minus ax. So substituting this derivative here, now noting this as constant term, so we can take minus j omega t outside the integration. So this equation is nothing but the Fourier transform of x of omega that we can denote it. So hence this is the proof, that is if you take the derivative of x of omega, it is as if multiplying the time domain equation by minus j omega t. So this we can reshuffle it in this manner. Now let us talk about the time differentiation property. This was about the frequency differentiation. Now let us see about the time differentiation. When we take the derivative of the signal in the time domain, it leads to multiplication by j omega in the frequency domain. Actually, when we are differentiating the signal in the time domain, it leads to multiplication by j omega in the frequency domain. The meaning is that it actually accentuates the high frequency components of the signal. The meaning of this is that when you take the derivative of a signal in the time domain, the high frequency components of the signal become more noticeable. Okay, this is the meaning, and the reverse is also true. When you integrate the signal in the time domain, the low frequency components become more visible. So when we want to highlight the high frequency components corresponding to signal or the low frequency components corresponding to the signal, we have to take the derivative or integration of the signal. This is the meaning of this. To prove this property, let us start with the inverse Fourier transform equation. Let us take the derivative of this equation with respect to t. So when we take the derivative of this equation with respect to t, derivative of e raised to j omega t is j omega into e raised to j omega t, because e raised to ax derivative is a into e raised to ax. Now after this, when you combine, okay, so this equation gives us the thing that the derivative, the Fourier transform gets multiplied by j omega. This is what we have to prove, that is j omega multiplied by x of omega. So in this way we can prove the time differentiation property of Fourier transform. Now let us talk about the convolution property of Fourier transform. Convolution property is a very popular property for all the transforms, because convolution operation basically in the time domain is a very complex operation. It requires flipping of the signal, shifting of the signal, multiplication of the signal. Then whether it is a discrete time convolution, we require summation. If it is a continuous time signal, we require integration. So it is a lot complex process. But the convolution of signals in the time domain is simple multiplication in the frequency domain. That is the important property of convolution. So it may be any transform, it may be Z transform, it may be discrete time Fourier transform, it may be discrete Fourier transform. Everywhere, whenever you take the convolution of signals in the time domain, it is as if multiplying the transforms of those signals in the frequency domain. So let us try to prove this property. So we are having these two signals x of t and y of t. Let z of t indicate the convolution of these two signals. Now we remember that now if we take the z transform of this, we remember the equation of Fourier transform. Now let us recall the equation of convolution from the third unit. So this is convolution integral. See here, the signals are continuous time, so we have to use convolution integral. We had seen the equation of convolution integral. The convolution of x of t convolved with h of t is equal to integration minus infinity to infinity x of tau into h of t minus tau. So instead of h of t minus tau, here we are having y of t minus tau. So see, variables can change. The names of variables can be different. You have to remember how that equation actually is. You have to remember the crux of that equation in order to, so variable names may change, but you should know what you are convolving. So you are convolving x of t with y of t. There you are convolving x of t with h of t. There we were calling the output as y of t, but here we are calling the output as z of t. So you can use any names for the variables, that does not matter. You should know how the equations are written for different variables. So when we write the equation of convolution here, now when we separate out the terms here, now we can separate out the term here. Now let us try to simplify this further by doing a substitution and finding out the limits. So after solving this integration here and separating out the limits, we see that we get two Fourier transforms. So this corresponds to the Fourier transform of x of omega, and this corresponds to the Fourier transform of y of omega. So both of these equations are same, only the variables are different. Here the variable is tau, and here the variable is t. Here we are denoting the signal as x of tau, here we are denoting the signal y of t. So this corresponds to these two signals. So this is the proof, that is when we take the convolution of the two signals in the time domain, in Fourier frequency domain, what is happening is the multiplication of the Fourier transforms of those two signals take place. So this is the property of convolution. So this concludes the properties part of the continuous time Fourier transform. In the next session, we will discuss few numericals on continuous time Fourier transform, wherein we will be trying to make use these different properties that we have studied so far. So we have seen the time shifting property, we have seen the frequency differentiation property, we have seen the time differentiation property, we have seen the convolution property. In exams, it may be asked about the statement of these properties, linearity property, time scaling property, and the proof may also be asked. And sometimes a numerical may be given wherein we have to make use of this property to solve the numerical. So we will see the different properties, the numericals based on these properties in the next session.